and I'd like to welcome you to our annual meeting. A couple of announcements to make. This meeting is being recorded. For people that would prefer closed captioning, if you move your cursor to the bottom of the screen, you'll see an option for CC live transcript. If you click on that, you can have closed captioning during the meeting. If you would like to look at the annual report, which includes the agenda for today's meeting, which you saw while you were waiting, as well as the minutes that will be discussed in a little bit later in the agenda. If you don't have a copy, you can go to the credit union's website, which is dukefcu.org, dukefcu.org. Click on Connect, then Annual Report, and you should be able to pull it up and follow along if you so desire. Our moderator today is Jennifer Sider. She will be helping with the question and answers, which is a little bit later on. But if you have a question during the course of the meeting, you don't have to wait. You can send it through the chat to her, and she will be able to provide me with the questions and answers, or the questions, excuse me, on what we need to discuss a little bit later in the meeting. I'll also reiterate that when we get to that section. So if you have a question during the course of the meeting, feel free to submit it to the moderator, Jennifer. For the gifts, Jennifer will explain this at the end, but we do need to make sure that people are members. And so from that point, if it's not obvious, please change your name. You just hover over your screen, there's triple dots. You click on that, and then you can change the name on the screen. If you don't want to do that, or there's something with your computer, you could always put it in the chat feature. Just tell us the name that's on the account and that you'd like to be eligible for that. But Jennifer will reiterate that later in the meeting. Also for our board and staff, sorry, you're not eligible on some of these things, that there could be a potential conflict of interest. This is intended for the rest of the membership. Again, welcome. This is our 53rd meeting. The purpose of tonight's meeting is for us to convey information to the board, or excuse me, to the membership, and to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask questions and see what's going on at your credit union. Want to acknowledge that this is a virtual experience. This is our second time doing this. We're hoping next year we can be in person, but for everybody's safety, we thought it was best this year to continue in the virtual format. For the business meeting, we're extremely fortunate to have Denise Motley as our chair of the board, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to her so that she can start the business meeting portion of tonight's Zoom call.
Thank you, Dan. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure to join you all this evening for our annual credit union board meeting. I will officially call this meeting to order. I will now turn it over to our Secretary of the Board of Directors, Richard Alexander Green. Richard.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Good afternoon, everyone. We need to have 15 members present to reach a quorum. I do see, and it has been confirmed, that we have 15 members in our meeting and online. Thus, I declare we have a quorum and may move forward with the business portion of our meeting today. The first thing at hand is, if you can please refer to the handout that you received or our website for our membership minutes from last year. If there are any recommended changes or corrections to the minutes from last year, please send those comments by the electronic chat. If not, so noted. I'll turn back over to Denise.
Thank you, Richard. We have a motion to approve the minutes from last year and a second. Dan, would you want this to be through the chat?
Please.
Okay. I have a second. I have a first. Please, just place it in the chat. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. Thank you very much. So I'll now move to the report of officials. I want to introduce the board. You had just met Richard Alexander Green, who is the secretary of the board. Susan Creekmer, who is the vice chair. Mike Hennessy, who's the treasurer of the board. Steve Smith. Richard Beaver. J. Allen Kendrick, Dr. Kendrick. Elizabeth Norwood, AKA Liz. Maureen Query, AKA Mo. Sean Moore. And Joseph Kim. So I just want to talk to you a few minutes about people helping people, which is so appropriate for the work that we do. With the fundamental belief and practice that all people deserve access to fair and affordable financial services. And this, of course, is embedded in the credit union and infused with diversity, equity, inclusion, and even economic inclusion, all the very tenets of credit unions. The board and staff take seriously the responsibilities to lead this credit union. The pandemic has impacted so many members through loss of family, friends, finances, jobs, sometimes hope. But I submit to you today that our mission and our vision of people helping people keeps us laser focused on our responsibility to continue to shine the light of a better financial landscape, being responsible stewards of your interests, and to help you realize your dreams today, tomorrow, and in the future. It was imperative to make changes, as you might already know, to address the pandemic. We're proud that the credit union never closed and remained available to serve you, our valued members. We recognize that processes did change for your health, your safety, and physical protection as valued members, as well as the protection of our valued and committed staff. The emphasis of the drive-through and the appointments are some of the examples. Mobile has been a growing part of our business, which has been important during the pandemic. And we're proud as we have continued the tradition of college scholarships. And we thank you sincerely. Members, we thank you for your patience and your continued patronage. I want to also thank the staff for supporting the credit union mission and vision and always putting the members first while maintaining safety, health, and social distancing guidelines and protocols. Members, without you, we would not be. Please let us know, continue to let us know how we're doing and how we can better assist you. I now turn it over to our treasurer, Mike Hennessy. Mike? Mike, are you on mute?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Can
Yes,
you hear me?
yes.
Can you see me?
I can't see you, no. We can't see you yet.
When I hit start video, it will not do anything but stay unvideoed.
Okay.
Are you able to free me up? Is there another way I can do this? I've never run into this before.
Let's see.
If not, I can just give my report orally. The host has to allow my video. Okay,
There you are.
very good. Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming to the meeting. I'm going to jump right into some of the most important metrics of the credit union. Why don't we start kind of counterclockwise in a way with net income on the chart on page 3. You'll notice we actually had a healthy net income. Recall last year was an absolutely record year for us with $1.4 million. We were about $1 million less this year, $444,000. And the reason for that is basically the interest rate environment. Interest rates plummeted. And so when we make loans, that kind of income goes down. It's good for the membership and the borrowers. Investment income goes down. In the meantime, our cost of funds are the same, and expenses we had already kind of squeezed as much as we could out of that turnip. We could squeeze more, but we will not cut services to the membership. We are here for you, and so with lower revenues and about the same expenses, you can see that our income went way down, but it's still very healthy. The thing that is really remarkable is the total shares that came in. Our total assets ballooned more than $30 million. And banks and financial institutions throughout the country are seeing this. It's mainly a function of the pandemic, where you've had literally trillions of dollars in stimulus that's making its way into the economy at the same time when many of us have not been able to maintain our spending practices that we normally have. We haven't gone on vacations. We haven't gotten out there as much as we can because of the pandemic and the lockdown. And so people are deleveraging their balance sheets. They're paying down debt. They're building savings, and it's coming to the credit union. Now, this is normally a good thing, but you'll notice there's not a whole lot of interest rates that you're making on those deposits. So you're being helped on the loan side with lower interest rates, but not being helped on the deposit side. So that is the combination of those two has made net worth go down from 9.08% to 7.92%. Nothing has changed in that calculus except that huge increase in assets and deposits. Anything above 7% is still considered a very well capitalized institution. So we are very well capitalized, and that is kind of confirmed by our own auditors, who gave us a clean audit. as well as the regulators themselves, National Credit Union Administration, who has come in to, inspect us as they do every credit union every year. So we're happy with that. Loans did increase this year. Most people are not borrowing, as I stated, they're actually paying down their debt, but we were able to increase some loans given a good environment. But it's a modest increase of $8 million. And again, those loans are set at a very low interest rate. So all this combined is, it's a much more tepid year than last year's record year. We're doing everything we can to serve the membership, because that's what we do. We're here to serve you. The pandemic has been very brutal on a certain portion of the environment. Basically, the lower 45% of the nation has been hurt. You can think of this kind of recovery as a K-shaped recovery, where the higher earner and the more wealth you have, the better you've made out, because you've been able to keep your job. The stimulus that the government has embarked upon has gone largely into financial assets, which, the more wealth you have, the more financial assets you have, those assets are going up. And a lot of people in the service industries actually lost their job. The stimulus payments to them were not exactly keeping them flush, so to speak. So we are here. Duke has been very, very fortunate as a university and a medical center that things haven't been that bad, but certainly for a certain portion of our members or their families, and certainly some of their friends, it has been nothing less than brutal. Where we are today, nothing is ever certain, but I've never seen in my entire career any greater uncertainty, because you have governments doing what they have never done before in their wildest policy making. Even after the great financial crisis in 2008, there was a flood of stimulus. What has happened in the last year and this year is makes that look like child's play, and we don't know exactly the ramifications of that. As I stated, it's been very, very good for the people that need it the least, and hasn't been so good for the people that need it the most. There will be more stimulus, trillions more. Trillions is a lot of money, even for a big country like ours. And so the economy, while it still has some weakness, it's being propped up by this stimulus, and hopefully it can get back on its feet. The big question for me is employment. Employment, is very robust. There are for hire signs almost everywhere you look, but it's more about the quality of the jobs, the sustainability of those jobs, and the career progression that you can have in those jobs. And that is a big factor. A lot of people have opted out of participating in the job market, and they are removed from the statistics for unemployment. So take government statistics with a little bit of a grain of salt. Interest rates is very important to everybody, especially a financial institution like the credit union. We are hoping that actually interest rates go up slowly and steadily, because that would reflect a slow and steady as opposed to an artificial recovery in the economy. And you can make more money, and that yield curve difference, which has been very, very flat, short-term rates versus long-term rates. it needs to steepen a little bit, which is an indication of a healthy economy. So we're very, very focused on that. Inflation goes hand in hand with that. The government seems very, very, convinced that they can manage inflation. That's not been the history of economies anywhere in the world, but they do have more tools at their disposal, and so far, so good. We don't want to see inflation running rampant. You don't want to see deflation. That is a sign of a very, very sick economy. So we're rooting for the government that they can really manage all the above. This is a lot of technical information. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you, but the bottom line is that the credit union is in great shape. It had that clean audit, the NCUA inspection. The net worth is very, very solid. I just want to reiterate again, we're here. We are owned by the members. We are not a for-profit. Everything goes into the credit union for the members. And we are trying not only not to cut services, but to increase them. Of course, some of those are costly, but we're going to do everything we can in our power. Lastly, I just want to thank the Finance Committee, the Business and Finance Committee, Mo Query, Richard Alexander Green. I want to thank all the staff that has worked with that committee, which is Dan Barry, Marie, and in fact, the entire staff of the credit union, as Denise has noted. It's been a very, very difficult year for everyone, for our members, and to run a business. And they've done a great job to get us where we are and keep us healthy and to serve you. And we sure hope that this pandemic can go away and we can start really serving the members better. So again, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks management, staff, and committee members. And I can take any questions if anyone would like.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jennifer Sider, Director of Marketing, and I've had the pleasure of working with the Member Advisory Council along with my colleagues. The council provides insights to the credit union team on products and services and makes suggestions for the future. I would like to especially thank the council members who may be online with us today: Rebecca Martin, Melanie Mitchell, and Celeste Toombs. Thank you for sharing your insights and providing feedback. We've enjoyed learning from you, and you're really making an impact. So thank you so much. I'd like to also recruit some more council members in 2021 and beyond for a 2-year term. So if you're interested in being considered for the Member Advisory Council, we'd love to have you. Please contact the credit union in the next few weeks, either via email or just give us a call. That's all I have for you this afternoon. Thank you so much, and I'll turn the meeting over to Dan Barry.
The credit union really is people. It's not the building. And we have a great team here that tries their best to provide the best service that we can to the membership. Unfortunately, I don't have time to recognize everybody, but I would like to recognize the management team that we've got, a great group of people. And if you have questions after today, this will tell you what the disciplines are, so you know who to ask for. For member services, we have Deborah Perkins Futch. Lending is Sophia Perry. Operations is Mark Suggs. HR, we have Sean Stevens. For marketing, Jennifer Sider. IT, Keith Geller. Programming, George Hernandez. And this meeting would not be possible without the efforts of especially 3 people. Jeanette Jones is in administration. So thank you to Jeanette, Jennifer Sider, and Mark Suggs, that they've worked hard to try to coordinate this meeting, and it would not be possible without their efforts. A couple of announcements for things that are happening and coming soon. We've been doing a scholarship for undergrad students. That application's on our website. The due date is actually the end of April. So you got a couple of days, not a lot, but you got a couple of days if you know somebody that is a worthy candidate. So from that point of view, please check the website and tell the students to please send us an application. The second thing, you would have noticed a difference in your statements that we've changed that this month to try to update it. Hopefully you like the new look and feel there. Lastly, the introduction of contactless cards. That's where you can hold your card over a kiosk and it will read it and accept it. Some of the bigger box stores already have it. Some of the smaller stores don't yet. We hope to have that to you soon. It's just one of those things with the pandemic, everybody's trying to get the cards. And so we're told that it's coming. We just don't have an exact date. And what we will do, because of the number of cards, we will issue them as cards mature naturally. If you travel, you have concerns, you would like a card, just for testing, etc., we will allow people to come in without a fee and exchange your card for an instant issue card when they're available. It should be within the next couple of months, but we wanted to let people know that it was coming and that hopefully this will help you feel safer. You hate to say it when the next virus is around, but from that point, it is coming. When we talk about the pandemic, we don't have a crystal ball on what the new normal is going to be. We recognize that adaptation is not the same as adoption. So as things open up, we will learn what new patterns there are, how you would prefer to do business, and we will try to accommodate as best we can to any changes that the membership has that way. As Mike mentioned, loan rates are low. This is great for people who want to borrow. Sorry for people who live off of savings, because you get less interest on your money. Usually one person's happy, one's not. And in this rate environment, it really is better for the borrower than it is the saver. Would like to let you know that we do not define success. You define success. So from that point, we appreciate feedback from you, how we're doing, things we're doing well, things that we could do better. And from that point, we appreciate it. Finally, would like to thank the board and all the staff. This really is a collective effort. And from that perspective, where Denise said people helping people, everyone's heart's in the right place. And we are trying to serve the membership as best we can. The next thing on the agenda is a report of the supervisory committee. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to John DeFore.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to start off by thanking the other members of the Supervisory Committee, Jessica Habeker, Jonathan Hoy, Jennifer McAllister, Joanna Rojas. We meet monthly. We are charged with the supervision of the credit union's regulatory and financial requirements. We hire a CPA firm annually. This year it was Neerman, Maynard, and Velez to conduct a financial audit. The audit firm did issue a clean opinion, which is available on the credit union website. From time to time, the credit union undergoes federal regulatory exams. This is a normal part of doing business. And thus far this year, or for this year and in the past years, the records of the credit union have satisfied all auditors and regulatory requirements, which is attributable to the daily efforts of the staff and the leadership of the credit union. Are there any questions? If not, I will turn it back over to Dan. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. This portion of the meeting is to answer your questions. Again, if you have a question, please submit it in the chat function to the moderator, Jennifer. She will compile them and then send them to me so that we can answer your questions. I'm aware of a couple of questions that have come through already. One was a shredding event. We typically try to do it right after tax day. Due to the pandemic, we had to cancel it last year. As things are opening up, we have not scheduled one for 2021. And part of your delay, we do have to schedule this close to a year in advance. The shredding company is not in Durham and covers a wide geographic footprint of North Carolina. And they only have so many trucks that work on Saturdays and Sundays. And so we do pay for it, we do schedule it, but right now we do not have one scheduled for 2021. And we are hoping that we can do one in 2022 as things start to open up. So I know that this is a service that people like, and you would prefer it to be sooner than later, but that's the rationale, and we will try to bring it back next year. The other question had to deal with contactless cards. Was it debit? Was it credit? And the answer to that's yes. We're trying to have contactless cards for both. Now, I don't think that's going to work at an ATM, but we will offer them for debit cards and credit cards. Jennifer, are there other questions?
I'm not seeing any other questions at the moment. Please feel free to put those in the chat.
Jennifer, is there another question?
See, there might be just a couple more. Let me just double check here.
Right, I do see one. The annual report quantifies teller transactions and call center calls. This individual likes to use the website. Are those interactions counted anywhere? And then a shout out to Dia, who's one of our employees, that she does a wonderful job and likes that method of communication. As far as the website, we actually concentrate more on the uptime to make sure that when you want to access it, that it is available. We don't necessarily track the number of emails that come in because, you know, some of them are asking questions, some are statements and other things. So from that point, we do not track that data. There was also another question related to new members that we increased roughly 800 members last year. How does that compare to previous years? In a pandemic, when everybody's staying at home, told to be on a couch, yes, the number of new members is less, but not as much as you may think. A normal year for us would be about 1,200. So 800 is still a good number during a pandemic. And so we're pleased thinking that that's a positive reflection. And as things open up, we hope that that number will return and maybe even increase above what it was the pre-pandemic numbers. The next question has to deal with Zoom. Since people have become comfortable with Zoom and remote, will there be some form of this type of attendance next year and going forward? We had an arrangement with the Hilton Garden Inn, which is right across the street from the credit union, for last year's annual meeting. They were very kind when the pandemic started to let us postpone that till this year. With the regulatory constraints on the size of the meeting, virtual seemed like the best way to go again this year, and the hotel let us extend it for one more year. Hopefully, if things are back to normal, we'd like to be back at the hotel next year to fulfill our contract with them. After next year, then we will just have to discuss pros and cons of meeting in person versus virtual. We know this is more convenient, but we also like to see you and say hello. So you do miss a little bit of that personal interaction. So from that point, we will be live next year, assuming that the pandemic's over, and then we'll reevaluate going forward. Jennifer, that's the last question I see. Do you see any others?
No other questions at this time.
All right, with that, I would like to thank the individuals who asked a question. If after the meeting, tomorrow, next week, next month, you wish you would have asked something, please let somebody at the credit union know, and we will be happy to answer as best we can. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Denise Motley to continue the business meeting.
Thank you, Dan. And thank you for your leadership. We've thanked the members and the board and the staff. Thank you. Thank you for your leadership. So we'll move on. If we think unfinished business, I don't think we have any. And so having said that, we'll move right into the elections. And that's with our nominating committee chair, Richard Alexander Green. Richard?
Thank you. Thank you, Denise. I appreciate that. I'd like to take a moment to thank the members of the nominating committee, Sue Crickmer and Dr. Alan Kendrick, who have been stalwarts of team members and have kept the ship right as it comes to our membership, our board membership. We've been very fortunate this year in that the three nominees up for renewals or re-elections are actually existing board members. We thank them for their willingness to serve another 3-year term. The names are Maureen Query, Richard Beaver, and Stephen Smith. Their names have been posted this past month for consideration by our membership. And I'll turn that back over to Denise.
Thank you, Richard. Pursuant to the bylaws, the nominees are elected as there were no petition candidates, and the nominating committee has nominated one candidate for each vacancy. Unfortunately, we don't have any special presentations this year. And if we don't have any other, I know that we have folks, we don't want to forget about the prizes. But in order to move forward, what I will do is if there's no other order of business, then the meeting is officially adjourned. And I thank each and every one of you for coming.
Thank you, Denise, for the gifts to explain the process and give you a little bit more information, we'll turn it over to Jennifer. Please welcome Jennifer Sider.
Thanks, Dan. Again, thank you everyone so much for attending today. And a very simple process. In order to thank you for attending today, we do have a gift for you, and that will be here at the credit union during the month of May while supplies last. We have a selection of gifts you can pick from, and we have your name on our list. So please feel free to stop by and pick up that gift. And in addition, we'll be selecting 3 members at random to receive $50 deposited into their account. And we'll notify those winners within the next week. So again, please stop by the credit union sometime during the month of May to pick up a gift. And 3 lucky members will receive a $50 deposit in their accounts. Thank you so much, and we hope you have a great evening.
Thanks, everyone. Good night, and please be safe.
Thank you, everybody.